Hello, all. A wonderful morning to all the participants who have joined the webinar today. You're looking at the Endpoint Management Solutions portfolio. So these are the list of products what we offer under Endpoint Management section. And today we'll extensively see about the Mobile Device Manager Plus product. So I welcome you all for the Mobile Device Manager Plus training program. My name is Ruben, and I'm a senior technical consultant associated with Manage Engine for the past 8 years. I do the training and implementation and onboarding services for the endpoint management and security solution. So here is our training schedule. So this is a 3-week series. We have made it in a way where the first week, which was last week, it was about device onboarding and basic provisioning policies. So we demonstrated about how you could onboard your devices and what are the different ways of enrollment we have. And based on the enrollment, what are the management scope you can avail on the device. That was covered in last week. And today we'll see about the app management part, how you could install, uninstall, and control the app updates on your mobile devices using our MDM solution. Now, followed by how you could configure certain security provisioning on your devices using our tool. Next week, it will be about the modern management scope on Windows 10, 11, and MacBook using the MDM module. So all these sessions will be recorded and it will be available in the below mentioned URL. You can also check the question and answers discussed during the training series in the below mentioned website. And also, all the registered participants will get the recorded training video once after the webinar series gets over. And let's see the training agenda, what we have in the store for today. So what we are going to discuss mostly in today's training session. First, I'm going to give you a quick overview about mobile device management solution, followed by how you could install, uninstall, and update your application. Either it could be a Play Store or your business apps. And even if you have your own enterprise application, how you could test them and then deploy to your production environment using our MDM solution. So that will be covered then. Followed by how you could block applications and malicious web content on your managed devices. And if you have any point of sale devices, how you could lock down such devices using specific applications alone. And if you have any device which is remotely there and the users are not that technical, how we can connect to such mobile phones or tablet and help them in troubleshooting any security related issues. And how followed by, I'll show you what are the benefits of having a scheduled OS update, that's the operating system updates, and how you could lock your devices within a particular geographical area, so geofencing features and its benefits. Followed by, I'll also show you how you can secure if in case the device is lost or stolen, how you can safeguard the corporate data available on the devices. Followed by, at the end of the training, I'll also share you certain real-time scenarios, what I have faced in my support experience, and the best solutions to approach such scenarios. Okay. Meanwhile, if you, the viewers, have any question related to the solution or to the product or with respect to the features, please feel free to post them in the chat box. I have an expert panel team here with me who will be able to answer your queries right away. Well, let's get to the training aspect now. So as I mentioned, first I'll give you a quick heads up, the overview about the MDM tool. So Mobile Device Manager Plus solution helps you to manage devices running on Apple, that's iOS or iPad OS, Android operating system, Windows, and Chrome OS. And these are the OS we support. And when it comes to device type, it could be a smartphone, it could be a tablet or a Windows 10, 11 MacBooks, workstations, and even if you have Android or Apple TVs and Chromebooks. So these are the list of device types which you could manage using the MDM module or the Mobile Device Manager Plus solution. And the MDM itself is available in 3 flavors within Manage Engine. As one, as an integrated suite with Endpoint Central, the Manage Engine Desktop Central has been renamed as Endpoint Central now. So you do have MDM component within the Endpoint Central suite. And in case where if you would like to manage both laptop, desktop, servers, and the smart devices within the same portal, then the endpoint center would the best fit. In case if you're looking for a standalone mobile device solution, then we do offer the Manage Engine Mobile Device Manager Plus, which is also available on both cloud and on-prem. And if we have any MSP audience today, like service providers who wish to manage devices from different companies, then we do provide Mobile Device Manager Plus MSP edition, where you could create multiple tenants and then add devices under each tenants and then be able to separately manage and engage them. Okay, these are the different flavors of MDM component we support under Manage Engine. And we also understand an admin would wish to integrate with as many applications as possible just to make sure the administrative tasks are more easy and effective. So that's why we leverage our MDM module to integrate with our own ticketing solution called Manage Engine Service Desk List and other help desk solutions like Spicework, Jira Service Desk, Zendesk, and ServiceNow. And you can also additionally integrate our MDM module with our client relationship management software called Zoho CRM and Zoho Creator. If you're looking to integrate with any other applications apart from this list, you can always use the publicly available API details to perform a seamless integration. In case if you need any assistance from our end to perform an API integration, you can always reach our support team and we'll be there to guide you. And let's see the MDM architecture. So how exactly a device will be managed under the Manage Engine Mobile Device Manager Plus solution. And when it comes to MDM architecture in specific, so be it any vendors you go with, they all follow a universal architecture when it comes to managing the smart devices. Okay? And that involves three major components. First, the MDM server. It could be on-prem or on cloud. That's the first essential component. Second, the notification services. So that plays a vital role. For example, in order to manage Apple devices, we need to have a dependency on Apple push notification service. And for Android, it is Fire-based cloud messaging service. And for Windows, it is going to be Windows notification service. So that's the second component, which is the notification services plays a role. And third is the end device itself. So these are the three components plays a role or are important for managing a device under MDM solution. And in order to understand how the architecture, how the communication flow will be, let's take an example. As for this today's session, we were going to discuss more about app distribution, right? So as an admin, when we try to distribute an application to a mobile phone, so what generally happens here is, like say you want to distribute Outlook, you go to the portal, you add the required application and you distribute them to the device, which I'll effectively show you in the upcoming slide. So what happens in the backend is when you distribute an app, that command will be sent from the server to the notification service. So if I try to distribute the application to uh, an Apple phone or an iPhone, the APN service will receive the command from our server, will use the unique identifier numbers like UDID or serial number of the devices and wakes up the device, which in turn the device will contact the server to know what command to execute. If it is going to be app distribution, the device will install the app and send back the status to the server. Okay, so you initiate an app deployment that will be received by the notification service, which in turn will wake up the device, contact the server, install the app, or if it is location tracking, it's going to fetch the coordinates. Any command you initiate, the device is going to perform that and send back the status here. Okay, that is how the communication flow will be. So if it is in cloud, if you are using MDM cloud solution, then the server is already there in the data centers, the nearby data centers of your location, and the notification services are already there in the internet. The only thing you need to make sure is whether the device is connected to any internet source, either mobile data or hotspot or Wi-Fi. If they can if the device is reachable to the notification services, then it can receive the command, execute them, and post the status back. Okay? If you're going with in-house, like on-premise based solution, as you know, the device will try to reach the server, and when you host them internally, you need to make sure you configure a public IP or an FQDN, which is publicly exposed for the internet devices. Okay, and if you don't want to expose your internal host machine, Then you do have a secure gateway component that is in like an additional relay server, which you can place it in your DMZ, which will only be exposed to the internet devices. So whatever command, whatever, whenever the device tries to reach the server, it will go only to the secure gateway component, which in turn will internally redirect the communication to your host. Okay. So you can know more about the architecture or on the implementation part. If you would like to have a one-on-one session with our technicians, you can always reach us via chat, the webinar chat. If not, you can reach us through the support mode, and we will be happy to schedule a personalized demonstration, and we will help you with implementing the solution based on your requirement. And when it comes to on-prem, these are the list of ports which needs to be open in your network. 9383 for device to contact the server, 443 for the notification services, and so notification service will go through these ports. So in order to know more about the protocol or inbound and outbound port information, you can always visit the below mentioned URLs here. It's simple. It's www.manageengine.com/mdm-ports. That's it, where you can see about the inbound and outbound and protocol, either it is HTTPS or TCP. You can see about those details also there. And as you saw, even in like as I explained in the architecture part, when a notification service contacts the device, it's going to wake up and then reach the server to perform whatever command we have initiated. So we need to have a component installed on all the devices because the solution follows the client and server model. So be it any MDM solutions you go with, that follows the client and server architecture, and you need to have a client deployed on all your managed devices. And when it comes to Android, you need to necessarily have the MEMDM app deployed on the device to manage. But when it comes to Apple, Windows, and Chrome OS, we don't need to necessarily have the application. We just leverage the native OS client available on these devices. Like it's just the profile installation, MDM profile deployment on the OS through which you can gain control. So this is what has been discussed in the previous week of the training, where we discuss about how and what are the different ways of onboarding the devices we have in the portal. All right, now let's get into the topic for today. And before I give you the app management part, let me take you to the portal and give you a quick tour about how the MDM solution looks like and what are the tabs we have and how what are the different flavors of MDM we have, as I mentioned. First, let's start with standalone MDM, that is Mobile Device Manager plus product. So under the home section, an admin will be able to see how many devices they have successfully enrolled, how many of them are pending to enroll, how many users have been onboarded. So you can see those information here, how many smartphones and tablets you have, the OS wise split up you can see. Even if you click on the data here, like say when I click on the iOS section, it automatically takes you to the inventory page and applies a filter for iOS devices alone. And all you can see is only about the Apple devices here. Okay? So from the home tab, you can choose whatever columns you want and be able to take a report as well. And moreover, a super administrator can also see the active audit logs feeds here. So which, say you have a multiple role administration, there are multiple technicians who manage the product. So if you would like to see which technician are perform what activities, you can also see them real time here under the same home tab, audit log details. Okay? And then under device management is where you do all the management tasks, like grouping your devices, grouping your users, which will help you to define a set of applications or policies to the group. Instead of selecting individual device or users, you can always collectively deploy to a group, which in turn will even help you to say whenever a new user joins the group, automatically he will have all the required applications and policies deployed to them. You don't have to redo that again. And same way, so all the management tasks can be done from here, from the device management section, that you could add application, configure profile, share files and folders like content management, remotely connect to the devices. So all the management tasks can be done from here. And then you have inventory where you can check the asset details of the devices, where you can also apply filters, like say I want to know the Android devices and Android tablets especially. So I'll go with tablets. So likewise, you can apply different filters and be able to export those information in PDF CSV format. You have a lot of filters, predefined filters also available for you. And if you click on an individual device, you'll be able to see a lot of more information about the devices, what device it is, what OS it runs on, and UDID serial number details, what applications they have, what restriction has been applied, and if you want to perform any quick actions, you'll also be able to do it from here. So inventory gives you the asset details and help you to do some on-demand activities, which I'll eventually cover in this training. And then enrollment, which is about the onboarding process, where you have a lot of different methods of enrollment. So basically, under each operating system, these methods are applicable for corporate device management, where if you are looking for complete device control, then you could follow the methods mentioned under Android or Apple. If you have BYOD, personal devices, then you could go with SMS invite or email invites through which you can onboard, or self-registration method, the self-enrollment one. So enrollment is all about onboarding. And we have some predefined reports available. If you want, you can also schedule these predefined reports, or you can generate a query report based on your business use case. You can write a query, or you can even get assistance from our query building team. Say, you can mention about the required columns and the criteria. We'll give you a query, which you can also schedule on a weekly or daily basis even. So for example, every day I want to know about the live devices, so like which are the devices in contact, or which are the devices inactive for a particular duration. You have the required devices you can select, and you can set a time frame, the like a frequency where I want to see this report on daily, or else maybe Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays morning 10 o'clock. I want to see these reports sent to my email ID. So you can choose the required time frame and be able to schedule the required in whichever format you want. You can check that and provide your email ID here. Okay, so you have reporting. An admin tab will give you the administrative task where you can create multiple user. Say you create a user and give them an access, either local authentication or AD based authentication for that user. You can give an admin role or a technician role and provide whatever, like say that user should have access only to the device management tab. You can create a role from here. You have separate role tab also, where you can create or customize the role based on your business needs. And for this particular technician, I want to give access only to the sales department. I don't want to give complete, maybe sales and support. So let this user see only sales and support devices. Likewise, you can create a user with a defined role and the scope of devices to see. And also, you can rebrand your company logo instead of Manage Engine MDM. If you want to rebrand with your own company logo, also you have that option to update it. So basically, these are the tabs we have, and these are the options you can control, and which we'll see about app management part in detail today. And if you go to the Endpoint Central, the same option, whatever I said so far, in the top section will be available as an option on the left-hand side. So this particular Endpoint Central suite will help you to do both legacy management and the modern management aspect, like patching and the inventory, remote control for computers, and so on. Along with that, you'll also be able to manage the mobile devices and tablets. All right. So now let's show you how you can install and manage business applications through our MDM solution. And before that, I'll give you a quick workflow on how does an app management works within our product. Say every instance will have their own app repository created, either it is on-prem or cloud. They will have their own unique app repository created. So first, an admin have to add the required application to the app repository. So be it a store app or your own in-house application, you have to add them to the repository, and then you can distribute the devices remotely. You can distribute to all the hundred or thousands of devices in one shot also. And what happens when it comes to a Play Store app is the devices will start to download the app from the appropriate business store location. So you will also have an option to choose the store location and then add the required application and the photo, and the devices will reach the appropriate store and then install it. If it is an in-house enterprise app, it will download from your MDM instance and then get it installed. Very simple. You add the required app and then you distribute based on the app type. It's going to get installed. Either it will download from the store or it will download from your MDM instance. That's it. So now let me show you how you can add a business store application for Apple devices and then remotely distribute them to the device. Okay. So you go to the device management tab. you have app repository section here, and you could add the required application by just going to add app, Apple Store application. You can search for whatever applications you want. And this is what I mentioned. You can actually choose the store location. Say I want to add the application from UK, so I'll from the UK store. So I'll just go search for the required app I want. Let's say I want to add the Zoho Creator application on all my devices. So I'll just go with this way and I'll click on app name. It will automatically update the Apple Store IDs and other information. And when you add them, say if the device goes unmanaged, it's a BYOD phone, and when a user leaves the company or when the user change the devices or anything, say when an MDM is being removed from the device, whether you would like to retain the app or it should also remove the application when a device goes unmanaged, you can enable this option. Same way, if you want to restrict the backup of app data in iTunes or iCloud, you can also restrict that. Likewise, you choose whatever app details you want to customize and then save the app to the repository. Very simple. You go to app repository, click on add app, choose the app details or permissions you want, and then you click on distribute. And I'll generally recommend you to select one or two devices first. Maybe let's say I'll try to distribute the application to these two devices first, and then see how the app works, and then I'll go over the group-based deployment. Okay, just a suggestion. And moreover, when it comes to distributing the app itself, you will have it in two ways. First, it's you distribute the app catalog. It's like a self-service option available on the ME MDM app on the devices, where users can go to the MDM app catalog, see the list of app distributed by the admin, and they can choose whatever app they want and they can install. Instead of you silently or forcefully installing the application, you do have an option to distribute this app catalog, which is like a self-service portal. Select you let the users decide whatever apps they want and then they can install. This is one way of distribution. And then in the upcoming slides, I'll show you how you can also install the applications automatically. If you want to notify the users about the application also, you can notify via email. So this is how you will be able to choose the distribution, and so you can add the app and distribute that to the required devices. On the end user side, this is how the portal would look like. That the users can go to the Manage Engine MDM app, click on App Catalog, see what app has been distributed, click on Install, provide their own iTunes account and password, and then the app gets installed. So this is a way where you add the app into the portal, distribute, let the users update their own account information, and complete the app deployment part. Okay, this is the first method. And as you see in this way, every device must be provisioned with an iTunes account and user intervention is required. So when you go with self-service portal or app catalog distribution type, a user intervention is required. And additionally, they have to enter their own iTunes or Google account for completing the app deployment, okay, for Android even when it comes. So this is one way. Now, when it comes to silent app deployment, there are two methods we have. For Apple, we have Apple Business Manager. For Android, we have Managed Google Play Service Integration. Okay? And for Windows, we have Windows Business Store Integration, which we'll cover in the next training. But for now, today, I'll talk about Apple and Android section. So for Apple and Android, you have ABM and Managed Google Play. And as a prerequisite, you need to have an account with ABM or Google at least. It need not to be a G Suite even, just normal Google account or a corporate Google account is enough. And when it comes to Apple devices, it has to be supervised. So without user intervention, if you want to silently install app, it has to be supervised. If not, even when you add them through ABM and then you distribute, users will get a prompt like admin is trying to install this app. Would you like to allow or deny? Only when a user clicks on allow, then it installs right away. The user doesn't have to provide their iTunes account, but it will wait for the users to accept the prompt. But when it comes to supervised devices, it will not have any prompt. Straight away, the app gets to install on the device. Okay? And for Android, it should be above 5.0 and later version. That is it. And let's see about the workflow here. So when it comes to silent app deployment, you have to integrate your MDM with ABM or manage Google Play service, add or approve the app, and then distribute the devices. Simple. Integrate, add and distribute. That is it. Now let me show you how to integrate your MDM with Apple Business Manager or manage Google Play service, and then show you how to approve and then distribute. So for that, you go to the same app repository section. So before I showed you how you can manually go and add the app. When you do this way, user needs to enter their iTunes account. But when you go with Apple Business Manager, that is when you go to Apple App Management, it will use the ABM account which you are going to use it for integration, and it will start to install. So every app installation on all your managed devices will go through a common account, which is your ABM account. So I've already integrated with one of my setup. Let's see whether I have any test server where I can integrate and show you. If not, I do have the images like a workflow. What are the steps you have to follow? Okay, so here is so when I go to Apple App Management, you will have two options: configure app for business and configure app for school. If you're from an education institution, you might also have an Apple School Manager account, so you can use that to integrate. So when you go with configure app for business, you click on this, you log into the Apple Business Manager portal, and you go to the left section where you will see preferences, where you can download the server token for your ABM account and do it. You click on preferences, payments and billing. You will see the list of server being updated here. So you can download the token, whatever you have, and be able to download the token and upload it. That's it. It's just a two-way step. You have to get the token from the Apple side. So you see, have separate tokens here. You have to download them and add it here, and then integrate. That is it. So this is a way where you can integrate your server with Apple Business Manager. And once that is done, you could go to apps and books section where you can see the list of applications available in the ABM portal. So for example, I want to deploy CRM or Zoho CRM or any application, say Teams or Skype or any software you want. You can search for the application name, and it should be device assignable. So only then you can silently deploy, because some application which is even be updated in the Play Store might not have device assignable section checked, which means the user needs to manually download from the Play Store and install. You cannot remotely do it. So you can verify this section, choose to which MDM server you want to distribute, MDM training server. And even though it is a free application, still Apple will require you, will mandatorily ask you to provide the quantity for how many devices you're going to distribute the app. Let's say I want to distribute 100 devices. I'll click on get. And this app, Iso CRM, will be sent over to my training server, and now I can go and select the required devices I want. Like say I have, even if you want to sort by, so which are the apps being added from the Apple Business Manager, you can just go and click on this filter where you can see the list of apps being added from the ABM portal. So App Store is what I had it before. When it comes to Apple Business Manager, we'll have the App Store as ABM here. So these are the apps which we can silently install. The When you see the source as ABM or the managed Google Play service, these are the applications which you can silently install without user prompts or user acceptance. So let's say I selected a device, I distributed the app, and it works fine. Now I'm going to select all my users and say all devices and HR department. I'll choose all the required group of users I want, and I'll go to Actions tab. I'll choose Distribute Application. I'll filter based on Apple applications. I'll select all the required apps I want, and I'll choose Silent Installation now. So I'll choose Silent Installation. Now, when I distribute, it will start to install right away. Okay, so let's see the images how it's going to look like even if I distribute. So it will start to install right away. So before we have to go to the MEMDM app, go to the app catalog inside, then install, providing iTunes account, only then the app is going to install, right? But here, when you add them through ABM and distribute, the app will straight away start to install and the users can see the applications deployed, which will not require any user intervention to complete it. Okay, so this is the way. And when you go with silent app distribution, we always recommend if the app size is more than 200 MB, it has to be connected to a Wi-Fi. So this is the design by the Apple itself. Because some clients would have a, a video editing application or a utility software, and they would distribute and claim that the app is not to, is yet to install, it is not progressing, or it is not yet deployed on the device. There could be a reason where if the device is not connected to a Wi-Fi and if the app size is more than 200 MB, it will wait unless and until the device gets connected to a Wi-Fi profile. Right? And only then the app will start and stop. So this is just a suggestion or recommendation which we wanted to put up. So that is about Apple Business Manager, that you could add your MDM server with Apple Business Manager account and select whatever apps you want, assign it to the MDM servers you want, and then choose the required groups to distribute. Simple. And then you have manage Google Play service, which needs to be integrated again. So for that, if you go to same tab, app repository, you have Apple App Management. The next tab is about manage Google Play service. Let's see whether I have a setup. Okay, I've already integrated. So when it comes, when you do for the first time, when you go to manage Google Play service, you will have an option whether you want to integrate with G Suite or non-G Suite, which is like a normal Gmail account. So I've already integrated with non-G Suite account, which is just my Gmail account here. So when you click on non-G Suite, this is how the page will go to. Okay, it goes to bring Android to work. You have to click on get started and you have to provide your business name, and you need to make sure the EMM provider, the enterprise mobility management provider, is managed in EMM. Okay, you can verify that and then click on next, and you have to provide two details here, the data protection officer and the EU representative. This has been made mandatory by Google after the GDPR law has been passed. So if there is any security terms and conditions being updated on the managed Google Play service, these two officers will be notified about it. Okay, you can, this is mandatory, you can mention that and then click on confirm. Once that is done, the registration is completed, as simple as it is. Okay, so just provide the details and you integrate. Once that is done, this is the page you would see here. And when you click on add app and you choose Play Store app, we provide the iframe integration. So automatically the Play Store UI would come up here. So even if we try from my production environment, so this Play Store UI would get listed. From here, you can choose whatever app you want. Like say I want to deploy Zoho Creator or Zoho Calendars, any applications you want, you can just search for it. Let's say whether this app has already been approved, not yet. Okay. So as you remember in the workflow, I mentioned you have to integrate your MDM with ABM or manage Google Play, then approve the app and then distribute. So you can approve it this way. You click on approve, provide whether you want to add these additional permissions for the application. Yes, approve, and then sync. So that this app, whatever you are trying to add from the managed Google Play service, will be updated. Okay, so just done. The app gets approved, and when I click on save and sync, the Zoho Creator application will be available for me and for my account under app repository. Okay. All right, the app has been added now, and now say I want to customize the app permissions. Meaning, like say, additionally, apart from adding the app from the managed Google Play service, I want to pre-configure certain app permission. Like say, the camera should always be allowed, and the location services to be allowed all the time. Whenever the user opens this application, the location services should be turned on. Likewise, you can choose the pre-required permissions for this application, and then save. Now we go and distribute to the required devices. Okay, I'll select sales, marketing, finance to have the Zoho Creator application. I'll click on distribute. That's it. The app will be distributed to this devices. Okay? And the app will start to install right away. And as you see, if it is a BYOD phone, it will get installed within this workspace. And when the users tries to change any of the app permissions, they will not be able to do it since I have pre-configured the app permissions in our app repository section. Okay? That is the idea behind adding the app and configuring the app permissions here. Okay? This is how you can add your uh, required business applications from Play Store and distribute the devices. Either you can distribute the app catalog. If not, if you want to silently distribute, you integrate with Apple App Management and manage Google Play service. So far, if you have any queries related to the app installation part, please feel free to post them in the chat. Our panel team can help you. Now let me show you how you can control the app updates. So I've shown you how we can remotely install. For having an app update control, so for example, why should you have an app update control? Because the updated version might be a patch for an existing security issues, or it could be a patch for an issue which is affecting the productivity. So you should have, it is not just the story ends as soon as you install the app. You should have a mechanism to automatically update the application. If not, you should periodically check which app needs an update and you have to force them, right? So let me show you how you can control that using the tool. So as a prerequisite to have the automatic updates, the device or app should be added via ABM for Apple devices, and it should be device assignable. Okay, that's it. And so for that, you go to app repository and the sorry, device management tab. You have automate app update section. Okay. So all you do have to do is just enable the section. So our team or our agent service will periodically check which is the latest version available in the Play Store. And if the installed versions of the applications are lesser, it will automatically update those applications on the devices. Okay. Just one click, which will periodically monitor and update the required business application on the devices. Say you don't want to automatically update all the apps, then you can uncheck and then you go to app updates, app repository section where you will see the list of app which needs an update here. Okay, there are 26 apps which needs an update. I'll click on this count. Now from this 26 application, I can manually select whatever app I want and then I click on update all. Or else if I have 10 devices, I can manually select whichever device I want and then I can select and update the application. Okay. So you can automatically update. If not, you go to the app update section, manually select the apps you want, and then you can force the update to that. Okay. This is how you can control the app updates through the solution. And now let me show you how we can manage your in-house application. So far I've shown you about install and I'll cover about uninstallation in the upcoming slide. I've shown you about updating the apps. Now when it comes to installing enterprise, that is in-house application, what you have to do. So is it, do you have to have an ABM or managed Google Play account for deploying an in-house or enterprise app? No. And is it possible to test the apps before deployment? Yes. And you can also add multiple versions of the app and you can target the required devices. Let me show you how we could do that now. And for that, you go to same app repository, same adding app section. And if it is an in-house app, you'll have to choose Android enterprise app. So I'll go with self-hosted. It is our own APK. I'm trying to upload. So I'll click on upload file and I'll go to all right. So when I go to upload the APK, I'll just choose whichever APK file I want. And automatically our system will validate this APK and give the app details here. So the app identifier, if you have the app icon, that will also come up automatically here. And you can choose to whichever devices you want to distribute this APK to. So all those informations can be added and be saved. So that is how we simply upload the APK and add the APK to your repository. Okay, very simple. So you can just save the app to the repository now. And if you want to distribute, you can select all the required group of devices and distribute the app. I'll silently distribute this enterprise app because this is our own in-house application and I want that to be in all my users. I'll even go with select all and deploy it to all the group of users I have. Okay. So that's something where I have installed, added the APK, distributed that, and now say after a month, we want to add few more options for the same enterprise app. We want to introduce few other options and we have enhanced the app performance and so on. So if you want to add an additional, if you want to update that application, you can just go to Actions tab, upload new version, go with, first I've deployed 1.0. Now I'm going to apply 2.0. And when you try to update, it will even ask you. So let's say this is a beta version. I'll just add it as a beta version now. So first I've deployed app version 1.0 and now I've added version 2.0 as beta. So you will get to see that. So 1.0 is what has been publicly installed on or distributed on all my devices. Now the version I have added was 2.0, which I've named it as beta, and I'll select the beta version. And now I'll test this update with few devices. If not, I do have a test group. So I'll test this version upgrade only on these two group of devices. Okay. So what will happen is when I distribute this version 2.0 and when I come across stating that I found out this version 2.0 seems to be uh, crashing. So the app is not performing as intended. So what I'll do, I'll go and add another version. So this version, I'll not go and update it on all my production environment. So I added the version 2.0 and I tested it and it is not performing the way which we expected. So I'll go and upload as I'll prepare a new APK or I'll convey the message to the app developer stating that the app is consuming a lot of battery or it's consuming a lot of data. So I'll just go and ask them to prepare another APK and I'll provide that. I'll get that APK now and I'll add them again. Okay. So now I'll mention this as a beta update. So first I've tagged as beta one and now I'll go with beta update. And I'll do the second level of testing like I did before. I'll select the beta option and distribute it, and I'll make sure whether this works fine. If it is working fine, and I'll just go and approve this. So when I approve this version beta 3.0, I can also choose install the updates automatically on all my devices. So this way, you add your own app, distribute it. When there is an app update available, you add them, test it. If it is working fine, you approve them. If it is not, you keep on add the new APKs and then you approve finally, which will update on all the installed devices. So if I go and click install update and approve it, it will update the version 3.0. It will update from 1.0 to 3.0 from all the installed devices. Okay, this is how the approval mechanism or enterprise app management we support within the solution within our NVM portal. All right. So now let me show you how we can prevent users from installing malicious apps. So far I've shown you how we can install and upgrade applications. Now I'll show you how we can uninstall or prevent malicious app on your device. So for that, we're going to use profiles. I'm going to talk more about profiles from now on. As you see here, you have an option to create profile for iOS or iPad or Android specifically. I'll create two profiles side by side. Just go with Apple webinar. There are a lot of things which you can do it for using profiles. I'll even go and create another Android profile. It is better to give a name so that you will know for which purpose you have created the profile and so on. And webinar Android. So the first use case I've shown you was how we can control the malicious app installation. So for that, you go to restrictions tab. There are a lot of restrictions you can do, like device functionality level and so on. With this webinar, for this particular aspect of training for app management part, in order to prevent malicious app installation, you go to the application restriction where you can prevent the users from installing any unapproved app, meaning whatever app is being distributed by the MDM admin can only be installed. Either you distribute to app catalog or silently install, only those apps can be installed on the devices, okay, when you restrict this option. Same goes for Android also. You go to restriction, you will have application restriction, and you restrict this section. This way, you can restrict the unapproved or unauthorized applications on the devices. That is like it's a proactive measure where you prevent the future app installation. But what say if the app is already installed, but you want to remove, then you go to um, inventory section where you see the inventory, the asset details of all your devices, where you can collectively see the list of apps being installed on all your devices. And if you want to uninstall or prevent any app, you select them and you choose block app. And you can either choose it for, or you can block it for all your devices or only for selected group of devices. Okay, this way you will be able to select the required app you want to prevent from usage on your managed devices. And you can also define what to happen when you mark an app as blocklisted, whether you want to uninstall immediately or you want to give a grace period, let them use for 3 days, and then after it will be silently uninstalled. So likewise, you can choose what to happen on these blocklisted applications. Okay? So this way you can prevent the install applications even. So now how we can prevent users from accessing malicious websites. So say, because as you know, certain apps, we are all moving into cloud now. So we are started using applications in the browsers. So what if you have a browser-based applications or a cloud-based application, which you want to prevent the users from using them as well? Then you go to same profile and you have web content filter where you can add the list of websites you want to block. If not, you can even create an allow list. So whatever websites you want to allow for users can only be updated here, and only those websites can be accessible by the users. Okay, so you do have web content filter as a separate profile in for both Android and iOS, and which you can create. So be it any profile, so you can play around a lot of settings with profile, say the restrictions or wallpaper, kiosk, and so on. Whenever you go to any profile settings, you can always see the help article here. When you click on this help, it talks more about that particular profile. When I click on web content filter and when I click on help, it talks about web content filtering, how the profile looks, and what are the settings you can customize and all. If I go to restriction and when I click on help, it shows you about the restriction settings and what restrictions can be applied for what devices and so on. Okay. And now, how can you allow only specific apps on devices? Like this is what the whitelisting applications or kiosk mode is all about. Where if you have some point of sale devices, or if you have any audience from educational institution or from medical backgrounds today, where they want to lock their tablets or devices only with certain applications, then how we can achieve that? For that, you go to same profiles tab. You have kiosk profiles here where you can lock a device with single app or multi-app kiosk mode. So when I go with multi-app kiosk, you can choose the required app to be allowed. So let's say I'm selecting these three or four applications. Along with that, I want to allow our MEMDM app also. And even if you want to allow certain other permissions, status bar or power button, I don't want to give access to power button. I don't want my users to turn off the device. So restrict it and so on. Whatever actions you want to give permissions to, you can. And if you want, the best part is you can also customize the layout, how the device app icon should list it. The icon size should be bigger, and I want to keep our MDM app in the dock settings and the remaining apps under here. So likewise, even if you want to create a folder and then do it, you do have an option to create a folder. This is how it looks like for tablets and so on. You can drag and drop however way you want, and you can rearrange the app home screen layout and then save the profile and then distribute. It's going to be same. You save whatever profiles you want, and you go to device management. You go to groups and device, select the group, and distribute profiles. So before I showed you distribute apps for distributing the application, now in order to deploy kiosk or web content or any restriction, you have to choose associate profile and select whatever profiles you have created. Okay? So this is how you create a kiosk profile, which is like whitelisting app or allow only specific apps and then distribute it. The single app will automatically launch. If this is how, if we have some delivery technicians and I want to give access to only Gmail application for them, then this is how it looks like. Whenever the user unlocks the phone, it automatically opens up the single app mode. If it's a multi-app, they have only access to these applications. And now, how can you troubleshoot? The next use case is about troubleshooting devices of remote users. So how you can remotely connect to your user's phone and help them in troubleshooting. Because basically, when there is an issue in the corporate phone and the users are outside the organization, which they cannot bring it to the pit stop or to the IT as a team, and they are not that technical, and how we can effectively troubleshoot. That's what you will have the remote control feature supported within the portal. So you can go to the remote control tab. Let me try to connect one of my test device now. So you go to the MDM remote control section under device management. And so certain devices can be remotely controlled, like Samsung, Sony, Lenovo. There are a couple of vendors who support remote control feature. And when it comes to other manufacturers in Android OS or Apple operating system, Apple devices, you could only remotely view, but you will not be able to remotely control because the manufacturer has to support that framework in order to remotely control. So that will be the same for any Indian solutions you go with. Let me take one of my Samsung device and remotely connect to it and show you. So just simple, we use the same Zoho tools for remote connections. And it is just when you enroll the device, app distribution, file distributions, and everything will be happening only through a single solution, single agent. So you don't have to uh, use different uh, agent or plugins for remote connections even. Just the same MDM profiler app will be sufficient to connect. Okay, so the remote session has been established now. This is how the screen what you can. This is how we can remotely connect to the devices, and if you want to, like say, you can remotely control the devices like this. You can click on back option, and when you open the MEMDM app, I'll show you what are the options and how the app looks like. You see, this is how the app catalog will look like. When I click on app catalog, you can see the list of app being distributed. I can install or open the app I want. And even if you want to send announcements, you can also broadcast messages like there is a meeting or you want to notify about an upcoming holiday or any notification to your mobile users, you have announcements for it. Content catalog is where you share files and documents. This is a secure way. Users cannot copy or download the files, whatever you share through our product. This is a secure way of sharing the files through the solutions and so on. Anyway, so this is how you remotely connect to the devices. Even if you want, you can also chat with the users. Let's say this is your MDM admin. So you can choose whatever message or communication you want to do it with your users. You'll be able to connect and be able to transfer back the messages. So likewise, you'll be able to remotely connect and help them in troubleshooting. And let me end the session. And so I can even show you how the kiosk will even look like. So if we have time, like say, this is how the device looks like as of now. But what if go and apply a kiosk profile to this device? I'll show you how the UI will change. I'm selecting this device and I'm associating the profile I created. I am applying the kiosk profile now. The device will get into the kiosk mode in some time. Once as soon as the profile gets published, it goes to the kiosk mode. You see, so the device goes from uh, the normal mode to the kiosk mode, and I can have access only to these applications which I've logged with it. Okay, and if I want to dissociate the profile, I'll click on the device name again. I'll go to the profiles tab and I'll dissociate the profile. So this way you can remotely connect and you'll be able to apply the kiosk or dissociate the kiosk profile and be able to effectively use those devices. And now, how can you restrict devices from leaving a certain area? So that's about geofencing. So that is also we support within the portal. So where you go to the same device management tab, and the remote control, you have geofencing at the bottom, where you can create a repository. It's like where you create a fence. It can create from 150 meters to 500 kilometers. Like say I want to create a 5 kilometer or radius of in London. So what I'll do is just go for geofencing and I'll create a fence within London city area, maybe within Kensington. So I'll just lock my devices within this location and I'll choose the area of London fence. And so once I create the fence, I can go to the policy and apply. So that is where I'll choose if a device moves outside the fence, I can choose what to happen, whether it should what to say, whether it should um, um, get an alarm on the device, or say if a user moves outside the fence, it will automatically trigger an alarm. If not, you can lock the device. If not, you can also wipe the device. So there are certain actions which you can define under the fence policy. The first is where you create a repository, then choose for which area you are trying to apply this. I'm going for London fence. And immediately, if a user moves outside Kensington, what I'll do, I want to get notified about it. I'll choose my email address and I'll get an email alert about this. And then immediately I'll generate an alarm on the phone also. Generates an alarm and lock the device. Okay. So I'll lock the phone and I'll choose the message also to be displayed. Kindly get back to the office. Back to the office premises. You can choose whatever message you want to display, and the device completely gets locked with this message, and then start to generate an alarm even when they step outside the fence. That's something I can create. And then after a day, still after 24 hours, if they don't come back, I'll remotely wipe the entire device. I don't want to get compromised with the company data or the corporate data available on the devices. So I'll do a wipe. So likewise, you can restrict your users from leaving a certain area by using the geofencing feature. Okay, so that is about uh, the geofencing features within the MDM solution. And the last use case I want to show about is automating the OS update. So what is the benefit of having a streamlined OS upgrade policy on your MDM solutions? Because the main reason is if you have an outdated OS, it will miss out security patches. The device is exposed to vulnerability, a threat actor's point of view, and the older versions will get to run slower with time. And it obviously, if you're majorly using in-house enterprise application, your app developers will develop an application with the compatibility of latest OS. And if you don't have a policy to update your operating system time to time, then those applications will not work as intended. And enterprise app incompatibly, bandwidth choking, because irrespective of whatever time frame the users comes into the office premise, the app, they start to upgrade the OS and it will consume a lot of bandwidth and all. So having a streamlined OS upgrade policy will help you to address all those issues. It's going to be one time setup, and you have an option to create different groups, like say test group, immediately upgrade. As soon as Apple or Google releases an update, you update that devices also. And then you create another time window for production environment. Even under production, you can create different groups and different time range and then update your devices. And let me show you how we could do that. You go to automate OS update section here. You create a policy for iOS and Android based on the business need. You can either do it an immediate upgrade for your test group, but when it comes to production, you want to delay it. I can delay it for 7 days or 14 days based on the need. First group, I'll delay it for 1 week, and I'll go create another policy with 14 days, which is going to be after which those devices will get an update after 2 weeks, and I'll choose the required days. I want to update the OS only on weekends. I'll choose Saturday and Sunday all the time and notify the users about the update and allow the users to skip it for another 7 days. So generally, right after the release of the OS, it will delay for 7 days. Then after users can skip it for another 7 days and then it will forcefully deploy. So likewise, you have a planned or scheduled time window for upgrading the operating system too. So you create policy and then you associate the policy with the required device groups you want. Okay, so this way you'll be able to create and use it. And securing devices when it is lost or stolen. Yes. So say when a user reports to you that his device is lost or or has been stolen, and as an admin, immediately when a user reports such issues to you, you can always click on the device name and you go to geo tracking, try to find out the location of the device. You have remote lock or remote location tracking in commands. You have location history also where you can track the location of the movement of the users, where the users have traveled on so and so days and so on. But anyway, with specific to this use case, when a user reports to you that the device is lost, you can go to inventory, click on the device name, go to geo tracking, and then you enable the last mode, which will completely freeze the phone. The only option the users can do is to call this number alone. The device gets locked with this mode, and if you want, you can, because sometimes the users will also have a easy pattern or a pin lock, and if you want to lock them with a secure password, you can choose like this, or you can choose whatever passcode you want, and that will be sent to the users automatically. So you lock them with this mode, and in order to unlock the phone, they have to enter the secure password which you configure, and no other option will be enabled for them. So whoever has the device can only call this number. Even if the charge goes down, they will still get to see this very same screen when they power it back on. Okay. So this way you lock the phone. And for safer side, if you want to do a corporate wipe, where you remove the corporate mail and applications or files and documents, whatever it has been shared through the product, you do have corporate wipe. If the user says that there are certain personal photos and they want to delete that also, you can also do a complete wipe. So these are certain actions which you can take when a user reports that the device is lost or stolen. Okay? And this is how the screen would even look like. No other option will be available for the users to see. All right, so these are the use cases I wanted to show in today's training. And at the end of the training, as I mentioned, I'll share certain real-time scenarios, what has been reported in my support experience. I'm going to share the scenario and the solutions for it. Meanwhile, if you, the viewers, have any question with respect to app management or with respect to MDM solution, please feel free to post them in the chat and we'll be there to help you. Our panel team can answer your queries right away. So I'll go with the first scenario, what I wanted to show you today. So how can you prevent users from uninstalling the corporate app? I'll show you how we can install and uninstall the unwanted app and how we can whitelist app and so on. What if I want to prevent the users from uninstalling the corporate app? So whatever app I distribute, I don't want my users to uninstall them. Same section, you go to a profile restriction application where you can go with deleting apps restrict. Same way um, for Android, you go with application, uninstalling app, you restrict. So this way you can prevent the users from uninstalling the apps. Second use case, a user has reset the device and left the organization. And when I try to reactivate and when I try to hand over this device to another employee or a new joinee, it is asking for the previous user's email ID and password. So this is common because after uh, the latest update of the Android operating system, the user have to enter their Gmail or the email account and password to reactivate the device. How we can tackle such issues or scenarios using our MDM. For that, you go to profiles. You have EFRP, the Enterprise Factory Reset Protection Profile, where you can configure a common corporate email and an account ID through which you can unlock the device. So what I generally recommend all our clients is right after they onboard all the devices, it's better to configure EFRP, that is where you can provide your company email as a secondary email address and distribute to all your devices. So no matter whether the users leave the organization and if you're not able to get in touch with them or reach them, still using this particular email ID, you can unlock the device. So you can see the steps of configuring EFRP under the same profile tab. You go to the help article here and you can see how we can update the company ID and how we can configure the company email address and distribute the devices. Okay? So this will help you to tackle this particular scenario. Even though a user leaves the organization and reset the device, you can still activate them. How can we prevent users from turning off the location? Say you have some point of sale devices and you don't want the users to turn off the location date service or Wi-Fi or any such settings. You can always go to the restriction and you go to location settings. You can choose always on. When this has been turned on, the users cannot turn off the location services. Same time, network and roaming. I want the Wi-Fi to be always on. So likewise, you can choose the required permissions from this restrictions tab, and the users will not have an option to change such settings. We need certain app to be available only for a specific amount of time, and how we can use that. So that's what under kiosk you have autonomous app where you can uh, choose a particular application to be enabled on a particular time frame. So you can choose the required app and you go to the advanced settings and you enable and you can specify which app to be automatically enabled and the duration so that it will automatically get launched when a device is inactive for a particular period of seconds. And so these are the real-time scenarios and the solutions I wanted to discuss in today's session. As I mentioned, if you would like to have a personalized one-on-one session, please feel free to post them in the chat. If not, you do have support channels available on the portal itself. So when you go to the support tab, you have live chat. You can get in chat with our team 24/5 from Monday to Friday. You can reach our team at any time. We have a 40-member technician under Endpoint solutions dedicated only for chat. So you can reach us at any time, and it is easy option for you to get in touch also with the support team. You can share images and you can discuss about the issues you have, or even you're not sure about certain settings or navigations. You can always click on the chat and get your questions clarified right away. And if you want to talk over a call, if you prefer talking over phones, you do have support toll free numbers available here. If you want to register for a remote support, you click on request support, update your details, and provide the time frame when you want to connect, and our team can get in touch with you. So these are the ways through which you can get in touch with our team. So you have support tab through which you can reach us. And as I mentioned, if you would like to have a personalized one-on-one session where you want to discuss about your requirements and your network requirements or implementation part, please feel free to register on the chat, or you can email us and we'll be there to schedule you. Please rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, and 5 being the best. And if you like the training program, please spread about in the social media platforms using hashtag mobile device manager plus or slash manage engine and spread your love. And the next session, it will be happening on 16th of August about modern management for Windows and MacBook, how you can manage your workstations with an MDM and what are the management capabilities you can avail. And this will be even helpful for the users who were using Endpoint Central, where they can also see about the broader management scope. Along with traditional management, what are the management scope you can avail for your workstation will also be discussed on the next training series. I thank you everyone for your time and thanks for joining the webinar. Please feel free to reach us for any technical queries. Thank you.